Hi, everybody. Okay. Hi. Okay. We're all here. People are coming. Hi, Connie. Oops. Okay. Just getting set up. I'm sure everybody is busy today. I know I was in the middle of finishing our chicken and took a break, turned off the fire, and came here to meet. So I'm very excited to meet with you guys. And I know a bunch of you are waiting for this recording, so I also hope to get it out right away. Hi, Alea. Okay. We'll give anybody else who's coming, another minute. And then we'll start. Okay. Okay. So hi, Alea, if it's okay, we're going to wait a little bit to do the Tehillim. So we'll have more people here. And I wanted to get started today talking about having a positive attitude, number one, first thing when it comes to the holiday. And that's really going to be, key here. And hold on one second. I want to make sure that this is pinned. Hold on. Mm, okay. Let's see. Okay. And sorry. There we go. Okay, great. Let's see, make sure that that's right. Great. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about today, and please put in the chat any questions or comments you have, and as people come in, they will be, they'll be coming in. I put it in on automatic entrance. So today we're going to be talking about Rosh Hashanah, and where number one is going to have a positive outlook, a positive mindset, and just take a deep breath. And any anxiety that we have, any trepidation that we have, any it's too overwhelming. I'm for sure not going to meet what I think is good for my health and be able to enjoy my holiday and be able to come to temptation and we're just going to go. Lift your hands above your head, hold your breath, hold your breath. Let it go. And we're going to do this one more time. I'm going to take a deep inhale, and you're going to put all your expectations and all your frustrations and all your things that you think have to be perfectly aligned for this to work. And you're going to put them on your hands, and you're going to feel how heavy they are and how tight you are. And then we're just going to let it go. So we're going to go. we're going to go into Rosh Hashanah knowing that things are actually set up in order for us to be successful on a cosmic level, on a divine providence, divine synchronicity level. Okay? How are we going to do that? Today, we're going to talk about hormones. We're going to talk about common anxieties and fears and questions many of you submitted either via email or group ahead of time. And then I'm here also, if anybody who, as you're coming in, has any questions, put them in the chat. You can either do direct message so only I see them, or you could put them in for everybody. But we've been in a year as a Jewish people of chronic disruption, uncertainty, and stress. And we only have really two options when we get disrupted. We initially, everybody like, oh, fall apart a little bit because we rely on consistency and habit and certainty, knowing what comes next, and all that's taken away. And so when that's disrupted, there's that moment of, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then we have a moment of either wishing and hoping and praying that the old certainty comes back, or we leverage the disruption to become transformed. And I'm going to invite you guys to take this past year, and instead of wishing our way into the past, that we welcome our way into the future. Chronic stress tweaks the process of all of our hormones, women more than men. Women were very hormonally sensitive. We are the Lamborghini of the human body. Men are more like, the Toyota Corolla. It's very certain and they know exactly what's going to happen. But our whole body, even after menopause, takes over a month to replenish. So you do something and your body doesn't feel good, you're going to feel the effects of that for an entire month as your body refreshes, while a man has a 24-hour cycle of refreshing their body, and all their hormones and all their cells and everything gets refreshed. So that means sometimes we can be putting effort in and we cannot see the results right away. But it also means we know that when things start to change, good is coming. Change is coming if we just wait for it and we're patient. And that gives us a huge advantage in life. It's why we can grow things and develop things and cultivate things that are seeds that are planted, that grow into beautiful projects and children and families and communities and jobs and careers and trees, because we're able to see that long-term connection, because we have to experience it in our bodies all the time. So instead of resisting and resenting the fact that we're more complex, we're going to choose first acceptance. And then we're going to see, it also has a lot to offer. And since that's what we have, we might as well appreciate what it has to offer instead of be frustrated by its complexity. Okay. Okay. So let's get really basic here. We're all releasing a lot of cortisol right now. And we want to use this holiday and the way the holiday goes and the food and the eating in order to actually increase our hormonal balance for the year. And that'll go for now, that'll go for Sukkot. So there's a few things that are really important, and I want to just highlight them here. And I'm going to start with like the most common question I heard from 5 different people going into today's call. And that is, but all the meals are so late at night. And I know eating at night, it just is so bad for me. And I put on weight and it's so frustrating. And I don't want to just sit at the table and not eat. Okay. So 2 things can be true at the same time. It's really good for you to have a nice window, especially for women, of not eating while it's dark out. So finishing dinner, 6, 7 p.m. and not eating till, between 7 and 8 the next morning, or if you're, doing a longer fast, 9 or 10 a.m., can be really beneficial to aligning your hormones, to maintaining a healthy weight or losing weight and being in fat burn and all kinds of amazing things. But here's something really cool. Do you know that if you keep that up too long without a break, it does the opposite effect? And if you've been under chronic stress or over dieting or restricting your food too much or fasting too long, that thing that was really good for you, like this, it boomerangs into being really bad for you. And your body then can't get into fat burn. And all of a sudden, it's feeling incredibly not vital. And the mitochondria, the energy house of every single cell in your body, isn't replenishing and creating energy like it used to. And so, what would be the solution if you could design the world? Would be that 2 nights a week, you'd have a shorter fast and you'd eat a little bit later and you'd eat a little more so that you wouldn't stress out your body in what was good for it. And in fact, what was good for it during the week would stay good for it during the week. And this Shabbat would be actually helpful to maintaining during the week everything that's helping you and everything that's good for you. That's pretty freaking incredible. We've all been under a lot of stress, and we're going to be under stress. We have the anniversary of October 7th. We have everything going on yesterday. We have so much going on in the world. And of course, what's going on in your job? What's going on in your personal family? What's going on in your personal finances? What's going on, for you internally, hormonally, emotionally, in your relationship with your body, your relationship with food? So it could be that there's a gift here. How do we leverage that disruption to our schedule to be the blessing that makes our schedule work versus the uncertainty that sends us into a negative spiral? I want to make sure, please put in the chat like a thumbs up if you're following, if I'm being clear, that we're on the same page, and we're going to answer it because this is the thing. Okay. So the way that we're going to do it is in the evening, we're going to have a high fiber carb. That could be pomegranate seeds. That could be apples and honey. That could be a date. See all these simanim coming into play that we eat on Rosh Hashanah? It could be a nice serving of fruit. It can be, I love wasa crackers. They're actually hamotzi. You can wash on them. Whenever, like I made challah, I love to make challah, but challah does not love me. And so I eat a bite and then I eat my wasa cracker. So I have enough to bench, and I'll have one and I'll have fruit and I'll have a good carbohydrate, even though it's nighttime, because actually this is going to lower my stress level inside my body. And I'm going to have a wonderful protein. I made some brisket. And I'm going to have some roasted vegetables and some salad. I'm not going to eat the mashed potatoes because I'm having my fruit and I'm having the simanim and I'm having the carrot salad and whatever little bites and tastes of all the simanim that I want to try. And yes, it's going to be later at night. But guess what? We're going to get up early. And then either you're going to pray or you're going to be at home taking care of kids, or you're going to connect to God in some other way. It's the new year. And I can wait to eat till 9 a.m. So I still have 12 hours, but I don't want to push it and go 14 or 16 hours because that's creating more stress. And then that cycle of overeating at lunch and then eating really late. No, I just want to have like 12 hours of not eating. Give my body time to digest. Also, if you're eating late at night and then you're going to go to sleep, try not to go to sleep directly after you eat. Take a walk around the block, walk your husband while he takes out the trash, or if you take out the trash, take the dog on a quick walk, hang out, sit, drink a cup of tea with your family, like enhance the holiday. And go to sleep, feeling relaxed, feeling centered, knowing that you're actually fueling your body in a way that isn't going to harm you. It's actually going to help create the rest of the year being full of health and abundance and just really great wonderfulness. Okay. So we have Rosh Hashanah and it's a 3-day holiday this year. So we talked about the first night. Guess what? Second night, you're going to have your lunch. and you're going to have a normal lunch. It should have healthy fats, and your lunch on Chag should have protein and should have lots of vegetables. And yes, it should have a high fiber carbohydrate too. Because what we want to do is all the things that are good for us, and welcome to everybody who just joined. I'm just saying that the things that are really good for us 5 days a week, not eating late at night, not eating carbs as much at night for our hormonal balance so that we have fat burning sleep that replenishes our body and helps our body reform, is not good for long term 7 days a week. It is actually to our benefit that once in a while we eat a little bit later. It doesn't stress out our body when we are fasting at night by sleeping and not eating. And so this can actually be a time, the same way Shabbos is designed in order to make the other 5 days work optimally. Rosh Hashanah is designed to set you up for all the health that you need, because it's been a long year. So instead of, a 2-day Shabbos, you have a Chag here. It's an extra day. Time to get more rest. Time to take a walk in nature. Time to spend good time with friends and family and eat delicious, nourishing food. In fact, this is a time to make sure that you're not having any processed food. That's a great place to really support your hormones and the year that you want to have. Make sure that any desserts you're eating are homemade. No snacks out of a bag, no treats that are processed. That if you're eating a dessert, it's homemade, made with love. And what I do is I make everything in individual portions, or I make it in a way that's really easy to portion. This way, you can have your treat and you can relax that nervous system, relax that sense of deprivation, but do it without creating a blood sugar spiral that's going to affect your satiety hormones and your hunger hormones. And in fact, it's going to increase your satisfaction hormones, which are going to help you keep your portions overall in line. But here's the problem. Sometimes, even when our hormones are working perfectly and we are full and satisfied at the table, we're still sitting at these long meals for a very long time. And I want to be real with you. The beautiful, incredible, empowered women I work with who embrace one of the next things I'm going to tell you, have life-altering changes in the way their family relates to food and in their own relationship with food. Of course, also outcomes physically that they want. But really, this changes your relationship with food, Shabbos, and holidays, okay? And I'm going to give you 3 different methods to try. One of them can work for you, or one of them you can invest in trying out and tweaking and getting emotionally comfortable with, which is generally the hardest part. Because sitting at these very long meals in front of the food is not a recipe for mindful eating, for meaningful communication, or for keeping people feeling good. So what are your options? Number 1, have your food on a buffet. So the table is clear. You have a beautiful centerpiece. You have water on the table, and everybody is there to be together. And there's more conversation flowing, and people can get up and they can get more food, but it really helps the impulsive eating and keeps you mindful and keeps everybody mindful. My house isn't set up like that. The husband won't go for it. Key, by the way, that the challah also goes to the plata, to the buffet after it moves through. Doesn't work for me. I can't. I just emotionally, I wasn't brought up that way. I can't do it. Okay, no pressure. Let's try another one that really, really, really works. You set up a runner in the middle of your table and you put all the food buffet style on the runner, making sure that challah is far away from you and making sure that the vegetables end up pretty close to you. So even as things get passed around and move and here and there, it's on a beautiful runner. It centers everybody unconsciously. They keep the food on the runner. And if something you don't want in front of you ends up in front of you, you send it back down the table and ask for something else to be passed in front of you. Okay, that helps. Even better is putting your plate, speaking to your spouse ahead of time, asking them, when I'm done eating, can I put my plate under yours. Okay, you don't have to get up and clear your plate from the table early. Maybe people are still eating and sitting there. But if you don't have your plate in front of you, you're much less likely to pick when you're already full and satisfied. Another thing that truly helps is moving back from the table and crossing your legs in front of you. This signals to your body and makes it much more awkward to bend forward. Sit back with a cup of tea. And again, chest up, you're being present and becoming a better listener and communicator. It's really a gift that will enhance and not deprive you on your holiday. Okay, we've talked about the how. Let's go back to the hormone place for a minute. We're talking about we want to increase our level of satisfaction and decrease our hunger. Okay, isn't that something we want that epitomizes what we're asking for this year, God? Help me be satisfied with the beautiful blessings and gifts that you gave me and not go around hungry, looking, never satisfied. One of my favorite songs from Hamilton, the musical, I'll never be satisfied. Okay, like it's really a thing to never be satisfied. We want to be satisfied. That doesn't mean accepting less. That means seeing and enjoying the beauty of the present. Being satisfied is being present. And so that's what we want. We want to cultivate that in how we go through Rosh Hashanah. So that means a few areas that people wrote in that they struggle. Number one, picking when they clear. So you've done amazing at the meal. You've eaten mindfully. You're full, you're satisfied, and now you're picking. This actually creates dysregulation. It's impulsive. When we're eating impulsively in a dysregulated way in our nervous system, we're actually shooting up stress hormones when we're being impulsive. And so when we're clearing, something that works literally 90% of the time, gloves. You wouldn't believe it, plastic gloves. Nobody wants to eat or pick from plastic gloves. It's an automatic psychological barrier. And it looks more clean. Certainly not a problem. Put some gloves on when you're washing dishes. Put some like a pair of plastic gloves on when you're clearing. It will stop the picking. Also, you can ask someone else to clear the food. Speak to a child, somebody else ahead of time, and you can wash the dishes. You can go do a different job that isn't clearing the food until it gets put away. Okay? But these things really make a huge difference. Okay? Questions. I'm happy to check the chat for a minute and hear other questions. So far, we've covered eating late at night, how if we really stick to the fruit and the simanim being our carb and our little piece of challah or wasa crackers that you wash on, being our healthy carb, and we have good healthy fats and lots of vegetables and some protein, how eating late at night once in a while actually makes not eating at night the rest of the time more effective, which is great. So we don't have to stress about it. And then we went over also not what do we do after we're full and satisfied and we're still sitting at the table around food, and we gave different ideas on how to get out of that situation. Next question, I'd love to see in the chat who has a question. Also, I promised we have a few women here who could not be here or one had to leave because they have children who are soldiers right now, active soldiers, and we want to make sure we end with some Tehillim today. For them, their families, and of course, all the other soldiers here. Any questions, please put them in the chat if I'm not addressing, something that's important to you. Okay, here's another very common challenge that I saw from things you guys sent to me. A few people sent me their menu for the holiday, and there were multiple carb dishes with refined flours and not a lot of fiber, like white rice and pastas and all kinds of different, like more processed carbohydrates. But also, there were amazing menus that had potatoes, sweet potatoes, banza, which is the chickpea pasta, or I made a lentil lasagna that's like lasagna noodles that are made from lentils. And I saw also many people had fruit for dessert and dark chocolate and chocolate bark and nuts and all kinds of different things that they were also having. So it's not across the board. This is something everyone's struggling with. And if you are struggling with it, you have two choices. Okay? You don't have to give up all the things your family currently likes, but pick just one less, more refined, let's say, carbohydrate, and instead have the second carbohydrate be either a whole grain like brown rice or a potato, sweet potato, or a pasta that's made from a protein source like beans or lentils, which, by the way, the macaroni and cheese from Banza, my kids are obsessed with it. It's delicious. It looks like macaroni and cheese from a box, but it has a full serving of protein and not very processed, very real ingredients. It's really incredible. Kosher OU. So check that out if you're looking for something easy to make between Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot, or for Sukkot and the Sukkot. So when we have a lot of refined carbohydrates, one thing that I saw across the board, when we have too many refined carbohydrates, we also tend to have like one vegetable. There was like potatoes and rice and some sort of pasta dish and chicken and meat and roasted cauliflower. And she's like, I'm going to eat the roasted cauliflower. I'm fine. But really, when you look at the table and you're only eating 2 or 3 out of the 7 things on the table, you're making that thing look like it's the least important thing, and it like is off, and your perception is off, and you're going to feel deprived. If you have a vegetable for every carbohydrate on that table, that's beginner level. All of a sudden, if you had roasted cauliflower and roasted carrots and a green salad, and you had 3 other things on your plate with your chicken and your meat, and a spoon of rice if you can't, if you really want the rice, or potatoes, which is a healthier option, or you're having, your fruit as your whole grain or as your carbohydrate, like all of that is fantastic. What we really want to do is make sure that we have a balance visually and also psychologically, that it's going to encourage us to feel satisfied, to feel happy with our choices, to feel aligned. And when we feel aligned and grateful and appreciative and invested and empowered, we are creating a beautiful vessel for God to pour into us this year, health and blessing and hormonal balance, and really lean into those good carbohydrates like fruit and whole grains. Have one at each meal. And if you're going to have a dessert, make sure it's homemade and not processed and really worth it, and in a single serving portion, whether it's a small slice or you've made them in single servings. I know that sounds obvious on one hand, but very often what's obvious isn't what's done. And very often we don't understand the real deep power of these obvious truths. And so we don't invest enough effort in really making it happen for ourselves, planning it out, visualizing it ahead of time, which makes it significantly easier to implement in the moment. We're halfway into our class today, and I want to just sum up. And so we have some new people coming in and out, what we've covered so far. And if you have any questions or an aha moment, please put it in the chat so we can hear where everybody is. Okay. Number one thing we covered first was the common question of, I know it's better for me to not eat late at night, especially as a woman in hormonal balance, and to have like a nice fasting or sleeping window at night during the week. What am I going to do? It's so many nights of eating late at night. And what we said is, actually, when you have a few nights of eating late at night, the rest of the time, it actually makes your not eating at night more effective. So don't fear it. Leverage the disruption by making intentional and healthy choices in those night meals. By choosing your simanim, beautiful fruits, seasonal, the pomegranate, a date, apple and a little honey, as the healthy carbohydrate that you're going to have, and not overdoing it on challah or any of the processed carbs. Choosing more whole grains, like if you're going to make a pasta dish, I know we have lasagna for a dairy meal, using a banza, which is a chickpea pasta, or a lentil pasta instead of regular white processed pasta. If you're going to eat desserts and sweets, eating a homemade, really made with love, beautiful single serving treats instead of snacks and candies and other and I don't know what, pretzels and chips and popcorns and all those kind of things that come from a store. Okay. Then we talked about what are we going to do sitting at these meals for so long after we're already full. And we talked about really non-negotiable, having a strategy that works, that gives you a better relationship with food. And that means having the food off the table and having a buffet. Number two, it means setting a buffet on your table, like having a center area where all the food sits, like with a beautiful runner that's very clear that this is where all the food goes. And then making sure that anything that isn't going to serve you is far away from you. Asking your husband in advance to take your plate and be able to put it under his when you're done eating. And physically moving yourself back from the table, crossing your legs, leaning forward, and being engaged with the people, but you've signaled to yourself that you're done eating, and instead you're fully engaged in conversation, in connection, and in being present and enjoying the moment. And that is going to lower the stress hormones like cortisol, which make us gain weight, and instead increase serotonin and dopamine and connection and love, which is going to take that same meal that you ate and make less likely that more of it is going to be stored as fat, which is, again, leveraging the disruption of our normal schedule, because normally you probably eat in about 7 to 9 minutes. The average person eats their food. Now you're going to sit for so long, it can actually be a gift to eat more slowly, to practice chewing, putting your fork down. Who has time to do that during the day? We're like shoveling it in. Take your time. Pause after you eat something before you eat the next thing on your plate, and intentionally engage with other people. Remember, this is, I totally understand, a disruption from your normal schedule. And we are all already under great stress, but we can leverage this disruption for transformation instead of getting stuck in the uncertainty and fear and frustration and lack of clarity that comes when our habit and our consistency is disrupted. Okay. Count your blessings, gratitude. Exactly. When you feel gratitude, you're releasing positive hormones and ideas and things, which actually increases your metabolism, helps you feel better, and is so good for you. And that is a great real key to having hormonal balance while we're eating other things. When we're feeling frustrated or fearful or self-judgeful or self-critical, we're actually creating a bigger problem than we're solving by trying to control our behavior through negative reinforcement. Unconditional love and respect is the secret to making lasting change. And this is a powerful lesson between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, where we're all trying to make change in our characters. The more, and I'm going to add this one thing I heard this week from Rabbi Shais Taub. He gave a beautiful class on this idea about God being in the garden surrounding us. And he said, it's not just that he's in the garden, it's that he's getting pleasure from the fact that we just showed up to want to be close to him. Before we even say, I want to change, I want to be better, I want to be better. He's like, I'm so happy you're here. Like, you're here, you chose to come be with me in the garden. Yeah, I'm closer to you than I even usually am, but like, you want to be with me. I love you. And then when we say, hey, and I want to accept that you love me and you created everything for my benefit, and what's happening is somehow something that can help me. There's something in my life happening right now that I'm going to grow from, or I'm going to get skills from, or when I look back, I'm going to see that in some way fundamentally changed who I am, that in some way is going to impact me for good, or be meaningful or fulfilling in a way that I probably might not have chosen for myself. And when we see things in that perspective, and we feel that deep love, our inner conversation with ourselves can also be more accepting and more loving, because we're welcoming a loving mentor guiding us to things that are for our own good versus a judgmental, critical, perfectionist expectation of ourselves and our behavior. Okay, questions, thoughts, things that have resonated with you so far, things you want me to elaborate on, take a second. And if you're with me and you've gotten everything and you're 100% in, put a 1 in the chat. If you feel like you want more clarity, put a 2 in the chat. Okay, let's see that chat go. Okay, 1. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So I want to take it into one more thought to wrap up, and I'll get myself back to cooking, let everyone else back to cooking. Okay, Sarah, welcome. I'm so happy you're gonna get something out of this for sure. Okay, let's recap and we're gonna go forward. So we've talked so far about eating at night, late at night, and how it can actually help us when we make good choices late at night and we choose the fruit and we stick to our protein and our homemade dessert and reduce the processed food and really mindful and enjoying. We talked about those long meals, getting the food off the table and giving our plate maybe to our husband to put under his plate and focusing more on appreciating and the miracle of where we are and what's happening and that we are okay and we are sitting and enjoying this meal with our friends. Okay. Great. I'm so happy you have the skills. Okay. One more thing I want to talk about is as we're aging, sleep and movement. Okay. Over a 3-day holiday, one thing, even if your food is really in line, something, especially with the extra tension in the world and in the Jewish world and in Israel, which affects Jews all over the world, not just Jews in Israel, is this tension and this anxiety that can affect our sleep. Not only can it affect our sleep, but it affects our social interactions over the holiday. People are more triggerable. Not everybody has the resiliency skills. And even if you have them, you have to be actively using them and sometimes many times. And it's tiring. All of this can wear us down. 2 things will make you more resilient and able to use the skills that you do have and be able to handle the Chag more successfully, really as a microcosm of the year. Sleep and exercise. Okay? If you really, really focus on getting better quality sleep, and again, this is to your benefit. If you do not use screens over the holiday, it will be to your benefit, even though you know you want to check the news and you know you want to be connected and you're worried and you're scared. Take a break for at least most of the day, if not the entire day. Take a break, really focus. You will get better sleep having the longer and longer and longer. So 2 days, 3 days without screens at all actually helps to regulate your nervous system. Get more sleep. When you pray to God over the next few days, do it your way. Doesn't have to be the way anybody else does it. Have real, authentic conversations about how you want the year to go. Have them with yourself, have them with God, and don't be a perfectionist on yourself that it has to be a specific way. Take the pressure off. It's all about sincere and authentic connection. And the second thing is when moments of anxiety hit, and you feel that adrenaline spike, it could be a conversation, it can be thoughts, it can be feelings, it could be something you see, something you hear. Immediately take a walk. Immediately do something to move your body, because what that does is it's actually sending sugar into your blood system. And if you immediately move, it's much more, you're going to be able to use that spurt of sugar, the cortisol released, because you're in fight or flight. So you want to fight, you want to move, or fly, you want to move, and you don't want to freeze. Some of the things that we do is we freeze, and then it sits in us, and it's much harder for the body to re-regulate, okay? So whenever possible, if you find yourself being stressed, go take a 5-minute walk, take a 10-minute walk, move, and even better, intentionally plan times to be walking, ideally even with a friend where you're going to increase your serotonin and dopamine as you're walking. And in every single longevity measure, daily walking is proven to have a positive impact. You don't have to go to work. We have less on our plate, even though there's more cooking and cleaning and meals and organizing and social responsibilities and all sorts of stuff. Put some of that self-expectation aside, and get outside. Get outside. Okay. Questions? What can I do for you? What other things do you feel like we're not covered that you would still like to hear covered, or you want me to go over again? Yay, thank you so much. This is a reminder. I can't walk, injury, but can dance and do chair exercises. Amazing. Any movement is good movement. And amazing mindset and saying, I'm not going to let the fact that this is stopping me from going and doing amazing things and taking care of yourself in a great way. Last thing I want to mention is water. All these hormones are passing through us all the time. All the time. We are having, look, for the first time ever, there was a breakout fight in my husband's show last week, like over something ridiculous. Okay. And everybody was so uncomfortable. These things happen when tensions are high. So it could be at home in your relationships. It could be with friends. It could be in the community. Tensions are high. Water helps to flush out and process through your liver and your organs all those hormones that are punching through your system all the time. If you take your water bottle and you put 2 hands on it and you push, what that actually does is it's a grounding exercise. So you can use this with a cup of tea. That's why I really never like insulated mugs. When I'm sitting, I always like either ceramic or glass, because you want to feel the heat or feel the cool. And it's actually a grounding exercise that will help you be less reactive in conversation and more listening and more safe in your own space to be able to be less defensive and take in what they're saying, whether or not you agree with them, validate what they're saying, and then give your, what if there's anything that all of what they said that you can agree with, highlight that, and then give your own opinion, and you will have a much better communication and able to be heard. And it's a grounding exercise. It also encourages that when you're trying to kind of swallow your words or get out of your own thoughts and really listen, and you disagree and you're feeling triggered by what someone's saying, it creates a space for pause, to not jump in with those words. To remember, we said impulsivity releases stress hormones. Our body knows stuff we're doing impulsively and not to our benefit. So it really helps us when we're drinking our water and we're drinking our tea to kind of get into a super intentional mindset. Okay. I'm going to send out this recording to everybody. Thank you guys so much. Every single person here who showed up, who had beautiful questions, beautiful comments. And I just want to sum up with, if you want to take this to the next level with me, working one-on-one, I have a year-long group journey that is currently open to enrollment and is currently functioning. And of course, I have my online Shabbat course, which really talks about all of these principles and lets you work through a process of Jewish aligned spiritual holistic health at your own time and your own pace. Thank you guys so much for joining. Check out my blog and Instagram and be in touch with me in order for us to do more events like this and continue to make this an amazing community. Have a Shana Tova, everybody. Shana Tova. Shana Tova. Amen. Oh, and I want to finish with a quick Tehillim for all of our soldiers. Shir Ma'alot Esar Einai El Heharim Ma'ayin Yavo Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Ve'aretz Al Yitain Lamot Raglecha Al Yanum Shomrecha Hine Lo Yanum Velo Yishan Shomer Yisrael Adonai Shomrecha Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yaminecha Lo Yomam HaShemesh Lo Yekeka Ve'ereach V'Layla Adonai Yishmor Tzedcha U'Roecha Me'ata Ve'ad Olam. Someone asked for specific chayal. Where is the name? Hold on. Okay, I don't see where she sent me the name. Hold on. Okay, Yitzchak Aaron Ben Chaya Mushka. Shana Tova, everybody, and may we bring Mashiach.
Amen.
Amen.